So I just had to click to allow here. I just clicked allow because the one who's logged in to the Valley Stars, which right now is me. Okay. Welcome to Valley Stars. Let us rise or get in frame for the Pledge of Allegiance. Right hand over your heart.
All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of
the United States of America and to the republic
for
for which it stands, one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with liberty and justice for all.
Oh,
Welcome. We have a number of people that are not in the United States. Maybe one time we'll do the pledge to Bulgaria. And Tanya, are you in Bulgaria or you're in Georgia? I forgot where you are actually.
I'm in Bulgaria, yes.
I'm in
Right now
Bulgaria
I'm in the mountains.
Or mountain girl. Oh, how beautiful.
Mountain hut.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, that's nice.
Beautiful.
I'm at the hut. Yeah.
Well, I will turn off my virtual background and I'm going to turn it over to our president, Joao Reino.
Neviana.
Sorry. Neviana, I mean. I've only been to one meeting. Have I only been to one meeting with Joao? I think
Neviana's right here.
I think I was in one meeting.
She's right here.
Go back to Neviana. It's been so long. Actually, it's right. You're right here. Where are you?
Thank you so much.
Neviana Tzvetkova.
Greetings, everyone. It is my pleasure to open yet another wonderful Valley Stars meeting. And I would like to check, how are you doing? Are you back to your back to school mode? Do we have Toastmaster of the day? And can you all rename yourselves according to the positions that you are holding for this session, please? Today the theme is back to school. And our Toastmaster of the day is our former president. Please give a warm welcome to Joao Reino.
Thank you, Madam President. Back to school. I've always loved back to school days. But then again, I'm the type of person who loves Mondays. There's something about a fresh start that I find really captivating. Also, the progression of being in a new grade, in a new year, learning something new. I've always found that it always really gave me a lot of energy. So back to school days were my favorite. And right now I have kids on all levels of school. I have an elementary schooler, middle schooler, high schooler, and a college girl. So I've been to all kinds of back to school days with them. And I hope they have the same feeling that I do. And with that in mind, I'd like to bring that feeling here to our meeting, the feeling of a fresh start. We're not coming back from a long vacation. We have already met. But let's bring to this meeting here specifically this feeling of fresh start, of progression, and of seeing each other again after a long time. So with that in mind, fellow Toastmasters, I will be as instructive as I can and describe the structure of our meeting. Our meeting is divided into 3 rounds. We have the prepared speech round where Toastmasters or members talk from their project or paths they've chosen. Then we have the table topics session, which is to give a chance for participants, for members to practice speaking and thinking on their feet. And then we have the evaluation session where we evaluate the speakers and the meeting in general. And to do all of this, I have assistants, the bearer of roles, and one of them is the timer. I would like to introduce the timer of the day, who's going to be Toastmaster Rachel, I guess. Toastmaster Rachel, can you describe your role, please?
Yes, I can. And I just had it up. It is the timer. Oh my gosh. I apologize. I literally just had it up and then I was looking for something else. Okay. So the timer of the meeting monitors each participant, indicates when they are nearing the end of their allotted time. At the end of the meeting, reports the length and each prepared speech, table topics, responses, and evaluation. The role is straightforward. I will be doing a green for depending on the first time, 5 minutes or 1 minute. Yellow will be a warning, and red, you have 30 seconds left. Back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rachel. And there is also the Grammarian and A counter. But our grammarian is supposed to be Suzanne for the day, but I guess she's busy at America's Got Talent. So she might not be able to make it. Well, she hasn't made it yet. So would anybody like to take on the role of the A counter? Anybody who doesn't have any role? So I'd say maybe Tanya. Tanya, would you like to be the A counter of the day? We just need to pay attention to, you know, ahs and filler words that people use.
I don't have anything to write on. I'm sorry. I'm on a phone up in the mountain. I think
You can memorize. I'm kidding.
How
How about Steve? How about our Sergeant at Arms? Would you like to be the A counter for the day?
Okay, I'll be all counter. I'll find my sheet.
And the grammarian, just check to see if
And
okay.
grammarian.
So explain your role.
So the A counter will count your ahs. Now that was just practice. That was just showing what not to do. And I will also mark filler words like and or that or like, words like that is another filler word. And I will then give a report on it at the end of the meeting. And for the grammarian, I need to come up with a word.
Oh, we already have the word, and I already used it.
Okay, sorry. What is that word again?
Instructive.
Instructive. Okay.
Yeah. It's
So
on
I will
our
also mark that.
agenda. Do you have our agenda open there? Do you have access to it? Because if you don't want,
I do.
I can cut and
Here's
I
my
can paste
agenda.
from.
It's I see the one I have does not show the word.
Are you on the September 1st agenda?
Yeah. Oh, there it is. It's at the top. I got it. Yes.
Yeah.
Instructive. An adjective meaning providing useful information or knowledge, and it's educational. Instructive. So let's use instructive.
All right. Thank you, Toastmaster Steve. Okay, let's move on to the prepared speech section. Oh, Susie is here, just arrived. So today, for our first speaker of the day, we have our very own president, Neviana Tzvetkova, and she'll be speaking from the Pathways Dynamic Leadership, Level 3, Understanding Vocal Variety, which she has already given us an example this morning in the beginning of the meeting. Her project title is Vocal Variety Demonstration. Neviana Tzvetkova is a third-generation singer-songwriter from Bulgaria, known as a dance music artist, DivaVocal. I love dance music. Her passion for music, coupled with the love of serving people, helped her establish a voice training career in recent years. Today, she will pack her knowledge into a 5 to 7 minute interactive speech on vocal variety. Please, everyone, welcome Neviana.
Thank you so much. How are you all doing today? Good, wonderful. I love Zoom. I love us all being able to meet here at the palm of our hands and me sing for you our Bulgarian folklore at the beginning of the meeting. But I would love to leave all the sign language to the side and unmute. As long as you're quiet or have birds like Tanya in the background, please unmute, because my speech today will be a demonstration that includes all of you in my vocal variety speech. So please all unmute. Rachel, Tanya, Joao, Steve, thank you so much. Now, what we will do is check our unity across time and space, because by the end of this speech, we will all make a universal song that will go across time and space. So at the count of 3, I want you all to clap along with me. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we can do better. Let's do it one more time. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. One last time. 1, 2, 3. Great. There is a small lag, but I think we can manage. Now, I want you all to think of an animal that makes a sound, not like a fox, but maybe like a bear or a duck, any animal that makes a sound. And at the count of 3, we will all make this sound together. Are you ready? Okay. 1, 2, moo. Wonderful. How many quacks? And I just heard quack,
Roof.
woof. Good. Do it one more time for me, please. Row, meow. Thank you so much. This is a great example of vocal variety. What is actually vocal variety? It is the use of our own born in the heart and in our soul instrument, which is our voice. And I'm very happy to be able to train younger singers and even not so young singers and help them develop their voice. Here, for the purposes of our presentations and speaking abilities, this is a great knowledge as it gives us bigger, better control. Because what is a vocal variety? Who can tell me? A vocal, I'm sorry, mastery.
Fluctuation. Voice fluctuation. Voice fluctuation.
Correct. And a vocal mastery is somebody who is using the full capacity of their voice. So they can go up, down, pace it, and use the inflection to the best of their abilities. Singing gives us this, but let me illustrate a little bit what singing is and speaking as well. Our voice is generated in our soul, but it is helped by the diaphragm. Do you all see? Yes, the diaphragm. And the idea is to have this column of air that goes through our trachea and through the mouth without any obstacles. So in order for us to have this open road, we need to really position ourselves. And in the singing, we study this about 1 year, to position our voice so it's clear. We open our mouth as if we are about to yawn, but just enough to yawn, and move our velum in the back up. I will help you inhale and use your muscle and diaphragm you can close your eyes and imagine that you are in front of this beautiful rose bush and you're inhaling this sweet smell. And then make a sigh on the way out. We can try and go even lower with the next breath, putting our hand on our stomach and our other hand on our hearts, and try not to move the upper one, just the lower one. Let's do it one more time. And a sigh out. Beautiful. How many of you were able to move only the tummy? Of course, our singer Suzi and Rachel and Steve. Good. This takes months of practice in the singing courses. Here in the speeches, we just demonstrated together the use of different resonance, which is the third portion of our voice apparatus. And according to the resonance, where the cavity we're using, if it's the chest, we have a lower voice, which is more trusting. It helps to do big pauses. It's a little more friendly. How many of you did sound by a bear or a lower sound of the animal? Joao and Arti? Good. Then we have the one in the throat. The resonator at the throat is the one that we use during the speeches, speaking. And then we move with the resonance in the head. And this is where we have most of our animals speaking. And and most of all Disney princesses, and also Marilyn Monroe, and some other girls maybe you know. It's very important to keep the low position, the voice positioned at the top back of the mouth, somewhere around here behind the teeth, and keep it open, as I spoke about the importance of having the airflow with no obstacles. So you might sometimes have this kind of sound. It's very American, by the way. I've heard it numerous times, but it's not that pleasant. And in those cases, you would like to open the velum and keep it open so that the air flows out. Now I see my red signal. I can talk to you for hours because a voice is something I love. But now let's do the universal, the amazing song that I promised you. You just need to tune in to my tone at the M and then move along with me. You ready? Let's do this. Thank you for participating in our unique song. Love you so much. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster, and God bless.
Thank you, Neviana. Thank you, our first speaker of the day. I really hope you're within time because I love that speech and I don't want to see you not getting voted. Okay, let's see. Our second speaker of the day is here, Serena McCullough. She will be speaking from Pathways Effective Coaching, Level 1, the Icebreaker. We're hearing an icebreaker from our DTM Serena McCullough. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
As we turn to fall and the back to school feelings in the air, our next speaker wants to share her journey as a homeschooler whose educational journey, though unique, had a major impact on her as a person. Please welcome Serena McCullough with her speech entitled Homeschooling, an Adventure of a Lifetime. Serena, you have the floor.
You know that feeling as a kid when you think that everybody, every household, every kid and parent is the same as yours? Anyone ever have that feeling? But there's a moment when you're growing up when you realize, you know what? I'm different. We're different. My parents are different. What's up with that? One of those moments definitely was when I realized that I was homeschooled and that some people thought that was weird. You ever felt like that as a kid? Anybody? Okay. You don't have to admit it, but I did. I remember one of my early soccer practices. I was probably about 16 or 17, and all the girls were talking about boys and all the girls were talking about all sorts of things. And then it came up that some of them didn't like going to class. They liked to ditch class because they didn't really enjoy it. All those stupid textbooks. And I actually had a question. What is a textbook? The thing is, when I was about, and my mom's probably going to correct this, when I was about 10 or so, I was currently going to private school. You would think that with all the money and the prestige, that there would be some amount of excitement conveyed about learning. But in fact, as my mother will tell it, one day I hopped in my dad's car and on the way home, emphatically pronounced that I hate reading. Coming from two parents that absolutely loved reading, my dad was self-educated and my mom, well, her education ended with a PhD. You can imagine the shock and awe. Oh, and also my dad, he's a writer. For fun, he likes to write. For fun, he likes to read. So from two very educated parents, it was a shock that they were spending oodles of money to send their youngest child to a good school, and she didn't like learning? What's wrong with this picture? Well, of course they had to change, but what are they going to do? Send her back to private school? Send her to public school? Well, that wasn't the best option for their first two kids. What were they going to do? Well, they ended up deciding to do something a little radical at the time, a little different, a little weird. They put me in homeschooling. But I will say this, after having the experiences I've had, and I'll share a few of them with you today, I can tell you that it was probably one of the best decisions they ever made. In fact, it was such a good decision that if I ever have kids, I will definitely consider doing it. Why? Because there are so many benefits and there's a radical amount of things that you do not experience. Some of the things that I didn't experience, lucky me, drugs. I will spell the word. I won't spell the word, but I'll think I can, boys and girls getting together. You get what I mean? And on top of that, bullying. All these things I literally didn't know was a thing that everyone did in high school. Why? Because I didn't go to high school and I didn't experience any of that. I was with individuals of different religions, creeds, races, obviously different sexes, but we didn't have any weird things about it. There was not anything we experienced negatively or thought differently about one another. It's almost like Martin Luther King Jr., his concept, his idea of having a world in which children could come together and didn't care about what each other looks like, what they said, how they acted, what their accents were, that world was the world of homeschooling. In fact, while I was in there, one of the second amazing things is I got to learn about all of these different opinions and ideas. I read excerpts from the Torah, the Bible, the Quran, because I wanted to know. Rather than making fun of people for their faith or their opinions or beliefs, we actually would embrace it. And that concept is radical because in the world outside of, this unusual world of homeschooling, you wouldn't talk about religion in school, right? Unless, of course, it was a religious school. But for the most part, that's not a topic you would bring up. But think about how the world has been impacted by that. The lessons learned and the information you would get from understanding that insight about human nature. That amazing idea of opening up what the world is to a child gives them the idea to think about it for themselves. And that was the third part that I would say radically changed my life, is that I actually was allowed to think. My parents encouraged it. My teachers encouraged it. All of that changed when I went to community college. You weren't supposed to think. You weren't supposed to know. Drugs, they were everywhere. And guys, they were everywhere too. It was a whole different world, completely different than what I had experienced. But the benefit to me is I was prepared. I knew where the danger signs were. The people that were asking me if I wanted to smoke a joint on the corner after class, I knew that was not something I wanted to do. But that's because I was homeschooled. That's because I had been fortified. And more than that, I had the choice. My parents didn't tell me, don't smoke, don't drink, don't go to crazy parties. They just educated me on what could happen if I did. I mean, they grew up in the 60s after all. They knew a thing or two about having a party. And they knew a thing or two about going to school and getting a good education, the value of having something the world would value. Maybe checking the boxes was a frustrating thing on my part, for sure. Some of these classes, did you know, they literally have a class that says, don't fool around, don't drink, don't do XYZ, otherwise you're going to die early. That was the entire class. There's actually a class on that. I didn't need to take it, but I had to check the box. I mean, it was literally a class I took in school. I couldn't remember what the whole point was, except that. Oh yeah, and there was a textbook too. It had to explain it because otherwise people wouldn't understand it. I mean, gosh, the concept of having something in a book, something so boring and ridiculous, it was insane. I am so glad that I had this opportunity to expand my horizons, to learn about how people are, how communities come together, the differences that make us special. All of these things are hugely invaluable and definitely add up to the person that I am today. So whenever you see somebody that's a little different, a little bit weird, a little outside the box, recognize that maybe they're not you, they come from a different place, but they could still have value and another way of looking at the world. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Serena. Amazing, very instructive speech. And I love weird people. And I consider myself one of them. Okay, everybody, I forgot to do it on the first speech. So let's take a minute or two to send messages to both speakers. All right, all right. By the way, Toastmaster Steve, I didn't realize you were evaluator number 2. That's why I asked you to be the ad counter. I hope you can do both jobs. And Suzi wasn't here yet, otherwise I would have asked her. So let's move on to the fun part. Well, the whole meeting is fun, but this is the more fun part, the table topics, our impromptu speeches. And the table topic master of the day is Arti Dutt. Arti Dutt, you have the floor. Can't wait to hear your questions.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Joao. Back to school. School brings back so many memories. Some good, some not so good. I'm going to ask questions about the theme, and the speaker has 1 to 2 minutes to give the impromptu speech. All right. So we will start. Let me start with, I'm going to start with Anette, because Anette, I guess you're the headmaster of the school. This is your first day of school. You had promised that you will give a speech about punctuality. You're late by 15 minutes. How would you start your speech?
Well, thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. I would start the speech with, here's how time works. If you're supposed to be somewhere at 8 o'clock and you arrive at 8 o'clock, you're late. In order to be on time, you need to be there at 5 minutes before 8. When you're on time, you're late. Don't want to be late. Now, that was a lesson that I myself, this is what I would explain to the students, to the class, that I myself had to learn the hard way. The thing that you will discover is the gems that you pick up by being on time make all the difference. If you want a job, show up early. If you want to be considered for that #1 spot on the racing team, show up early. Showing up late not only makes you disqualified, but showing up early gives you added party on time. Start the party on time, no matter who's there. Next time, they'll be on time. Over to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Annette. The last part you said, today we started on time, and guess what? It's 8:02 and we're at table topics. We are doing well. Thank you. All right, let us ask another question. Joao, I'm going to ask you this question. All right, question for you is, kids give a lot of excuses for not going to school. What was your most creative excuse for not going to school?
Thank you, Madam Table Topic Master. Oh, that's funny because I actually really enjoyed going to school. I had so many friends. I really wanted to connect to those people. I had two different groups of friends. I had the friends from the place where I lived at, and then I had the friends from school. And they were different groups, and I was never with the two groups at the same time. So I loved going to school. But yes, once in a while, I didn't want to go. And I'd say that my favorite excuse was just, I want to stay home. I want to stay home. I want some me time. Guess what? It never worked. Maybe I should have stepped up my excuse game. But overall, going to school was always a very positive experience for me. I was in the same class for many, many years with the same people. So we created a really strong bond. There was one time on my 7th grade that because in Brazil, you don't go to different classrooms. You stay in the same class and then the teachers come. So when I was in 7th grade, they changed me to a different classroom because I enjoyed my friends so much that I used to talk too much in class. So they said I was disturbing class and they moved me to a different class. And that was a very traumatic experience in my life. But that is the topic for another speech. But overall, I didn't have any good excuse to not go to class. I just enjoyed it. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Joao. Thank you. All right. Let me ask. Rachel, would you like to answer the next question?
Should I time my son?
If you want, I can time you. All right. Question for you is, in a hypothetical situation, if you weren't present in class during school, where would we find you?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Where would you find me during school? Well, it was actually a true story. We would go with our teacher, and actually, if we weren't in school, and we would go down to the beach, because I did go to school 10 blocks from the beach. So, yeah, on several occasions, we could just kind of walk off campus, and our friends' houses were all there, or we would go to the beach, or like our drama teacher would take us to the beach, and then we would get back. We do it at break time, so it'd be second period to break, so we'd have enough time to come and go. So yeah, I would be out having fun, walking around Santa Monica. Which, yeah, that happened a little bit too much, but we had a great time. And like Joao, I actually very much enjoyed school. And there were some times I didn't want to go, and there was one time I did not go. That it was a very good day that I didn't go, because a lot of my friends had a little bit too much fun and everybody got in trouble. And I was like, oh my goodness. Thank God that I actually decided to ditch and watch soap operas with my best friend on TV. So yes, I was actually very instructive in my schooling. I was an even B, but I realized if I just would have tried a little harder, I could have just gotten an A, but I was a little too social. So back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rachel. Your timing was 1 minute and 32 seconds. Okay. I believe we have time for a couple more questions. Amy, would you like to answer? Oh, you're muted.
Yes, I love to go to school, by the way. In Korea, they have, yeah, especially when my father was very strict, so I have to go to school too. So he always let me know. So what I learned, a lot of report I have to, report to my father. But I have a lot of friends. Like I say, like Rachel, I'm very social. You have lots of friends. And so when I go to a school, and we do have a lot of fun stuff. And so, yeah, I do. It's a little different in America right now, but I went in Korea, and there's a lot of activities going on. So I do love the school, and then also I got a fun stuff. So when I was young, I really enjoyed a lot of the fun stuff with my friend. And then I also, and when I go to school, they're very, also that it's different than America right now. I go to from all the way to high school. I was in, Korea. They have a lot of strict. It's not like America. So I have to follow, and everything's even though I wear that, we wear always uniform. But if you don't have uniform proper way, we already cut. So anyway, I love the school, and I enjoy I have a lot of friends, so I have the social. And then also, yes, I learning a lot from this in school. So I do love it in school. And they don't even, that time we don't have homeschool stuff. So anyway, I do love it in school in Korea, but I just enjoy what I'm doing now. And school is to me now actually is and the Toastmaster is school. I like it. God bless.
School doesn't end when you graduate.
Yeah, actually,
from there.
Toastmaster
Learning
to me
doesn't
is a school.
end.
Yeah, learning each other.
Learning doesn't end. Thank you, Amy.
You guys. Yeah.
Thank you, Amy.
Totally different level, but I learning a lot of stuff from you guys. So I feel like I even tell to my friends, Toastmaster is my school. So thank you, God. God bless you.
If the meeting closes, just log back on. I'm not sure if it will, but we're getting close to 45 minutes. So just in case, just log back on. It doesn't mean the meeting's really over.
Let me ask the last questions.
Yeah.
Suzi, last questions for you. What are some of the things that you would do to impress your teacher on first day of school?
Well, that's an interesting question because I don't recall doing anything in particular for my teachers. As you probably all know, my favorite classes were music and art. So if I had those to do, it took me a little while for the teacher to recognize or impress me. But I actually did have one teacher in high school. It was a very unique class that was never taught anywhere else. And my teacher, it was called Contemporary American Problems. And in 1973-74, we had a teacher that was probably in the military. His name was Warren Snyder. My last name was Snyder. So I already had an in there because he would remember me because of my last name, nothing that I had anything to do with. But I absolutely love this teacher. And in fact, there's Facebook groups from my high school, and we talk about him because he really, his desire was to make sure that we as juniors and seniors had a rough idea of what life was going to be like once we graduated high school, and not to fall in the pit holes. And that including knowing how to write a check or create a checking account, not to get married when you were 18, get a job if you were able to, that was your goal, was to go to college, whatever those things were, but be prepared for adulthood, not just finish high school and be out there with the wolves. And so that, I feel like because my last name was Snyder, it was a memorable teacher for me, and he remembered me because of my name. Nothing I had anything to do with, nothing that I tried very hard at.
Thank you, Suzi. All right, I have a couple more questions. I don't know if we have time for more questions. Toastmaster or timer, one of the two.
I guess one more and then we're good.
All right, cool. I guess I will ask this question. Steve, let's ask you this question because I think you're the perfect person for this question. Would you rather be the funniest or the most intelligent person in the room? And why?
Good question. Funny versus intelligence. So I often would, as a kid, I would say these jokes. Would you rather be smart but poor and ugly, or dumb and rich and handsome? And then it would evolve to, would you rather be dumb, poor, and ugly, or smart, rich, and handsome? I think we got to have some of both. But at various occasions, sometimes certain areas of that are easier to fall back on. Comedy is easier for me because you can, without thinking, you could just I could just fall into it. I can fall into comedy. But really, I would prefer to be the most intelligent person in the room because that takes some real harder effort. You got to be educated on what's going on around you. And I would like to fall into that. I'd rather be able to fall into that. I've often been amazed when I would see Jay Leno give his talks, give his Toastmasters table topics, but just with a topic that's just thrown at him. And he speaks of it so brilliantly that he is one that I find has both comedy and intelligence. He's able to do both. But really, I think he's just got complete real smarts, because I think you need that to be funny as well. So that's why I think I would lean towards the intelligence side. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, members, for indulging in the table topics. At this time, I would like to ask our timer for the timer's report for the table topic speakers.
All righty. So table topic speakers, we had Annette at 1 minute 40 seconds. Joao was at 1 minute 24. I was at 1 minute 32. Amy, 1 minute 39. Suzi, 2:01. And Steve, 1 minute 40 seconds. We are all on track.
Awesome. I know that we do not have a vote counter. Suzi, would you take on the role?
I think when it's online like this, right, Steve, we can do the vote. We can set up a poll and
We could set up a poll. I think we lost the poll when we.
Oh, because you're not paid. We don't have a paid subscription anymore.
Let me just click on it and see what happens. Oh, I've got it. Okay, hang on. Can I launch?
By the way, I was supposed to ask for the timers report after the prepared speeches. Was I supposed to ask for the timers report?
I have it.
Okay, go ahead, timer. What is?
Okay, for the speaker number 1, Neviana, I actually stopped it at 7.42. Because I was just sad that she went over. And then Serena was at 7.47. So you both went over.
Okay.
So we can still count.
Yeah, so we can actually take a vote, right?
So we can take a vote.
Because of the Zoom lag, it's the Zoom.
That's what it was.
Executive decision is we will take a vote.
What's good?
So because if we're doing online poll, then we'll do all three together. Yeah, you cannot.
Nice, there we go.
Yeah, let's wait. Okay, great.
Awesome. Let's wait.
It's on the screen, but let's not vote yet.
Yeah,
let's wait for the evaluation, and then you do it again, Steve. With the
I'm gonna X out, Steve, if we can. Just push it later again. Okay.
And I saw that I was able to do all the polls at once rather than one at a time.
Awesome. Let's do all at once right after the evaluation. So now
I'm gonna hand it back to our Toastmaster.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. I'd like now to hand over to our general evaluator of the day, Toastmaster Amy Cornwell. You have the floor.
Okay. So what do you want me to say, Toastmaster?
You are the general evaluator, so you're supposed to introduce the evaluators and then at the end, evaluate the entire meeting.
Oh, okay. So who do I have that?
So you first introduce the two evaluators. Do you know who they are?
Annette.
Yes, I know who Neviana. Okay, so you want me to do? Okay. Hey, so you always so and fun, Neviana, fun and interesting
No,
way to.
Amy.
Actually, no,
Amy.
you're not going to evaluate them. You're going to introduce evaluator number 1, who's
Oh,
Annette,
okay.
Toastmaster Anette McCullough. She will evaluate
Oh.
Neviana. So you can introduce
Still
Annette.
learning. I'm a student still. I don't know
Yeah.
what you're trying to say. Okay. All right. So first one is Neviana. And also second one is also Serena. Okay. So you have to, who's going to evaluate?
Annette is Neviana's
Annette.
evaluator. So
All right.
you
Annette.
can call on Annette.
All right. So, okay. Okay.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator.
Oh, okay. So,
I've got the floor. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
So it's my job to evaluate our president today, Neviana. And I must say, this is the first time I've heard her speak. I've heard her sing before, but this is the first speech I've heard. And what an absolute delight. This was a very ambitious project. Ambitious in that not only is she teaching us about vocal variety, she's teaching us about voice and where voice comes from and how to make different sounds and the effect of the different sounds that she's making. For example, she taught us about different tone levels and the effect that that has on your audience, whether they're comforted or relaxed. The other thing that I found was just amazing. She actually brought animals into the situation with getting us to have different sounds and the audience participation. This was a very, very ambitious speech. She probably needed about a half an hour, actually, to really get this and to get us to get the song, which was another part of it. She wants us to sing a song. I don't sing songs, certainly not out loud in front of anybody else. So very ambitious song. No doubt whatsoever, her vocal variety was great. Her loudness, her pitch, everything about that part was great. The one thing that I would suggest is, and I know this is a challenge in Zoom, no matter how you look at it, but because you're wanting to look at the response of your audience, you're looking at the monitor, which means you're looking down. And you need to look up at the camera so that we get the idea you're looking at us. And there is no easy solution for that other than to, be able to see both. So I have to say this was absolutely wonderful, great speech, and I'm really looking forward to hearing more. Back to you, Madam Club Coach.
Okay, so good. So next, Serena, who's going to?
That will be our former president and our Sergeant at Arms, Steve Horstein.
Okay. Let's see.
I am up. So Serena, I want to say you excelled at starting with a question to engage the audience right off the bat. I loved how you did that, and it got me thinking about homeschooling, and I wasn't homeschooled, but I do know some parents who do homeschool their kids, and I would often wonder how that works, because I really don't have an idea of how they could really teach their kids all the way through, and I was always amazed at how they could do that. And the kids actually turned out to be great. And I wondered, how could they turn out to be great? Well, here's another example of how someone turned out to be fantastic being homeschooled. I liked how you gestured. We have to remember that when we are in a Zoom meeting and we have to adjust our screen and our hands are down off of the screen. So even though I'm moving my hands right now, you can't see them. I have to raise it up to gesture. And you did that. You made note of having to raise your hands to be where you could see it. And this is something that's so different between Zoom and in person, is when we're in person, we can't see ourselves unless we turn around the screen to face us. But we can do that when we're on Zoom. And we have to be aware of where the camera is. Another very important thing that you did with your speech, and this is where speeches start, was your organization. It was fantastic. I loved your organization. You started with the question, then you started with went to the reading issue, things you didn't experience, things you did experience, comparison with junior college. It was in segments and it was easy to follow. And that is how to organize. And I think we can all learn from that. Your speech was very instructive in that regard, not only talking about homeschooling, but it was instructive as to how to organize a speech. This is how to do it. You did fantastic. As I always look at the various Toastmasters tools, what you could do, well, vocal variety. You did adjust speed. Sometimes you talk fast, sometimes you talk slow. Oh, you know what? I moved forward right there and moved back. That's another thing you could do to emphasize certain things rather than being right in the same place on the screen. So vocal variety, I did notice you did a little bit. I think you can incorporate more of the Toastmasters tools. And I'll always say in practice, you can exaggerate what you're doing. So it's rare that anybody over exaggerates their Toastmasters tools. We need to do even more of being loud and soft and fast and slow. It was fantastic what you did. I loved your speech, very instructive. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you both general evaluator, so you have to counter.
So now you have a couple of minutes to evaluate the meeting
Okay.
as a whole. What do you think?
Oh.
Do you think we had a good meeting?
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Great meeting. Everybody did good. We cannot
Amy-
choose. Everybody did good. So,
Amy, also you ask
What?
for the counter grammarian report. That's
okay. So
yeah, that's Steve. Ask
Okay.
Steve for the grammarian report.
next is the count. Yeah, you guys to vote. But it's up to you guys. Just let's vote.
I could do the counter and grammarian
Yes.
report.
Yes.
I was not so good with it this time. I missed a lot of them because I was just so enthralled with the meeting that I forgot to do it sometimes. But I did make note of some. So if I pick on you, I'm not just picking on you. It's just when I was paying attention. So Rachel, I noticed you had an actually, and I noticed an and I was like. We just need to be aware of that. And I think perhaps all of us do that. So we could be attentive to that, hearing what Rachel did. She had a so, she had an she had an and I noticed Suzi had an and a but and two so's. Amy, I noticed a so. I know all of us had more than this, but I wasn't paying attention as much as I should have because I was so focused on what you were saying. Regarding using the word instructive, I know I did hear it a few more times than I wrote down. Pay attention to me using it, so I marked down myself, and I don't know who else used it. There you go, Rachel. Rachel used it.
Beautiful. It's NS.
You do the timer report?
Timer
For the
report.
evaluators. Yeah, timer report for the evaluator.
All righty. So the evaluators, first was Annette, and she took 2 minutes and 13 seconds. And Steve, for number 2, was 2 minutes and 49 seconds. They are both accurate and
Okay, Amy, you can pass the floor back to the Toastmaster, to myself.
So what's the next? What do I have to say?
You just say, thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Toastmaster. You have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster. You got to close.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Amy.
okay.
Thank
Mhm.
you, Amy,
Mhm.
for your participation, for your evaluation. Now I think
This is the
we're
first
supposed to
time.
vote, right? Let's vote. Steve, can you set up those polls? We Artie and I would put the numbers on the chat box. So because there's only going to be numbers, so be mindful of that when you vote. And let's pick the winners of the day. Well, we're all winners,
All
Yes.
winner. To me, all winner.
but let's pick the more winners.
The overall winners.
Oh,
Steve is
Oh,
setting
well,
up the poll. We did the amazing feat today of having 6 table
Yeah.
topics
That was really
speeches.
good.
So we are
Things
almost
you can achieve when you start on time.
exactly. We're almost late. We're actually exactly on time.
Exactly on
Look at
time.
that.
So we can fit
I-
6 people if we're very precise on time. If we're
I
very
do have to
punctual.
leave in a minute because I have an 8:30 call that just got scheduled. So
Okay.
I will be leaving in a minute.
yeah,
50 minutes.
I do too.
I love that we were able to complete the meeting before.
You see the
I would
poll up
also
there?
thank
don't.
everyone.
Poll's not up, but the
don't.
numbers are.
Oh, we
I
see
don't
the
know
poll.
why.
Just click, guys, just click on the
Oh.
poll button at the bottom of
There
the
it is.
screen. Just click on the poll. It's going to show up again. It's right there. It didn't pop up, but if you click on the button, it shows up again.
Oh,
So at the bottom where you see participants, chat, share screen, there is poll quizzes. Just click on it and it pops up again.
oh, interesting. Mine, I don't see it. It just shows results.
Okay, so you don't vote unless
Maybe
there's a
not.
tie.
Are you guys
person
able
who
to
makes
vote?
the
You did
poll
it.
can't vote.
Yes.
The
Oh,
person
I
who
see
makes
it.
the poll can't vote. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's why. Okay, that makes
Which
sense.
Okay.
which is better
Okay,
because
we
as a vote counter doesn't vote anyway.
Exactly.
I don't
So
see
let's
anywhere where it says.
let's vote. Table
Done.
speech is
But I
number
voted.
1. Speech is the first section, and then table topics.
Ari, before you leave, I want to thank you for this lovely thought out questions. It was amazing.
Really nice.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
That was.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, I have to go. I have to jump on another
have to
meeting.
go too.
I loved the meeting today. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
God bless you. Yeah.
Do we know
We
who
had a-
won?
Not
Yeah.
yet.
Okay.
There's suspense. It was very
It's like
well
watching a
structured.
horse race.
Yeah.
That must be fun. Has
Have you-
everybody voted? I guess everybody has
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
voted, right?
Overall winner.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. All winner.
Does it give you the results, Steve?
All right, are you ready? If I end poll, then it'll show, I think, maybe. Okay, let me try it. Let me end poll. Gosh, let's see what it shows. Hope it does it. Your
Everybody wins.
results.
Overall winner.
You see it?
Okay.
You see the
Okay.
results?
We see the results. So best speaker is Serena, very
Mhm.
close to Neviana. This is interesting because we see all the votes.
I like it. Yeah.
Best table topics, we have a tie between Annette and who was number 5?
Number 5 is Susie.
Oh, me.
Annette and Susie. So there's a tie
Yay.
between Annette and Susie. And best evaluator, it was Annette.
Yes.
Congratulations, everybody. Yeah, we need to work on some things here on the
Okay.
poll because we're not supposed to see the other votes and there's not supposed to be a tie. The vote counter is supposed to be the tiebreaker. So maybe we go back to traditional
I'll work on
non-poll.
how we do that. See, maybe there's a setting to do that.
Yeah,
Make
but
sure.
good. But we got the results for today.
Oh, good. All right.
Thank
Okay.
you, Sergeant
Alright.
at Arms.
I'll test some more.
Yeah.
Overall winner. God bless you.
Congratulations.
There's a
Yeah.
way if you know how to do Google Forms, Steve, I can send you a little blurb about that so you
That
can
would be great. You know, I did
you
a
could
speech
use
on
that
Google Forms one
alternatively so
time.
no one can see it.
Terrific. Let's do that. We can do Google Forms. That's a
But
great idea.
We had a great meeting today. We were on time because we started on time and we were very well structured. So congratulations, everyone. And I guess this is it. I'll give the floor back to our president, Neviana.
Thank you so much, Mr. Toastmaster. This was once again amazing meeting. I believe that we have our Zoom renewed by Susan Burton. I think she was fighting hard to do it. That's why it didn't stop at 45 minutes. And I'm so proud that our club has all 7 officers trained. And congratulations on everyone. Once again, great to see you. I hope that on our next meeting on the 22nd,
15.
on the
15th.
15th, we
15th.
get to start on time, just like we did here, and that it goes just as smooth so that we can interact. So much fun. I really loved our meeting here on Zoom, and I hope that we get to transfer it little by little to our hybrid meetings to go as smooth as here. Thank you so much once again. I call this meeting closed. I
Adjourned.
close this meeting. I
God
adjourn the
bless
meeting.
you.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
Yay.
Yeah,
Bye-bye,
Take care.
Great
thank you so
meeting.
much. Each
Great
everyone
meeting.
encourage me
Bye.
to move on. Okay, God bless you.
God bless.